Alright, we out here. We back. This video just had to be made because, first of all, I think someone requested it, and also because I wanted to do it. Yeah, going back down these comments. Now, unlike last time where I was just kind of off the cuff and I just chose comments at random, this time I want to address a specific theme that kind of permeates the, like, I guess I could call them the anti-Smogon section of the community. And it's something I feel is really contradictory and ironic and hilarious. And I'll explain why. It's this idea that of comparing Smogon to communism. All right, yeah, this is not the only comment that mentions this. Hold up. Yep, this one's got it too right here, and then you scroll down further a little bit, and we got it right here too. And let's just for a minute disregard how absurd it is to even begin comparing a small community of Pokemon players to an economic and government philosophy. Let's just disregard how absurd that is as a concept from the start and address just how ironic that is when you consider another major claim that anti-Smogoners have in order to sort of justify their positions and why they speak out against Smogon. The most common justification is that Smogon rules tend to permeate outside of the boundaries of Pokemon Showdown and such. And think of the children getting yelled at for not following Smogon rules, which has never happened. I call complete bullshit on that, but that's the rhetoric. Essentially, their argument is that at least in the English speaking world, Smogon is so popular that it's near impossible to get a singles battle without your opponent wanting to agree to Smogon's rules and policies. And you have to think, if Smogon is really that popular that is a justification. First of all, like, I'm gonna call bullshit on that claim as a whole, but even if I were to grant the anti-Smogoners that claim, then hasn't Smogon earned the merit it needs if it's so popular and so many people like their ideas? Smogon appeals to so many people that it has become the standard for competitive singles in the English-speaking world. I mean, that's the most capitalist line of logic I can think of. And there is the sweet irony in it because so many people want to like make this absurd analogy are the same ones that would bitch and cry and whine the loudest if I told them, yes, you are correct. Smogon has permeated itself throughout the English-speaking competitive singles community, and you gotta suck it up because Smogon has earned it and they deserve it. That is to say, Smogon has won the market of ideas in competitive Pokemon, at least in, English speaking countries, and even a lot of other countries. I mean, go look at Smogon World Cup for an example of that. So we have won. You have lost.
You have lost.
You have always been losing. Your competition has been creaming you all this time. And now you want to bitch about it and call it communism. That is just so rich. All those anecdotes of like all those kids crying because they don't want to play Smogon, suck it up. Fuck you. And now we get to here. Now, this video itself, I'm going to leave this video in the description because this one, I'm assuming most of you have seen Blunder's video on Baton Pass, but this one is really good as well. Go ahead and check out my nigga Aberforth. Like, he's on Smogon as well. I think he's like the person you need to contact if you want to like post YouTube videos to Smogon's main channel, like their actual YouTube channel. And go ahead and check this nigga out. He's pretty cool, and I like this video quite a bit. But all right, I need to show you this dude who just went completely nuts at my casual, offhanded comment. Oh, and by the way, leave him some likes too. Like, this is not a deserved like-dislike ratio. Like, this is even worse than the one I did with Erlang and Lot, which I expected to have a pretty awful one, but like, this is just like, this is not justice right here. You need to go and check this video out. So I made this like offhanded, just sort of casual comment, and this man, Eviolite user, legit probably underage, he just goes off on me. Like, he just forgets the English language. Like, can you even read all of this? But basically, I didn't even read all of it, but the only thing I got is that he accused Smogon players of not being able to, play other formats. And then I point out that in the past few months or so, I know of at least 2 regionals where, okay, like, there was one regional, I'm pretty sure about this one, that 2 of the Smogon players that attended were the runner-up and the winner. Alright, so like, what is he got to say about that? When I know Smogon has had a VGC community for a long time, but especially recently, Smogon players like Blarajon and people like them have done really well. So I'm like, are you aware of this? And this guy cracks me up. He's blaming Smogon players for like the staleness in Pokemon VGC. And I just like, oh god. I really shouldn't have even bothered, but I felt the need to. Because I knew that I would probably put this in the video about how, you know, first of all, in a lot of like, if he's basing that off of like Verlicify's videos on Worlds and stuff like that, I know he made one video complaining about, you know, standard teams at Worlds. All of those players, like, I only recognize maybe one of them. Like, those are not Smogon players that did that back in like 2015 and 2016. Those are just like your average top VGC players. And how are you going to blame them for using what's clearly effective at winning games? If anything, the VGC rule set is the one at fault for not being able to empower an anti-meta, because I know there was one year where just like the standard in that metagame completely crushed. Even the anti-meta didn't really stand a chance, and that's what ended up being like the world's top cut or whatever, or the nationals top cut. But that's kind of a tangent. Basically, I said like, how are you gonna blame the players for like just using what's effective? They're competitive players. That's what they do. And then this man just completely forgets the English language here. Already his grammar wasn't great, but then he's just like completely forgetting what words mean. Saying that static and arbitrary is the Smogon style of rule set, apparently. To which I had to reply, like, dude, Smogon is like literally the opposite of that. Like, disregard, like, if you disagree with bans and shit, like, I don't really care that much about that, to be honest. But you can't in any world claim that these bans are arbitrary, that they just do it because they want to. Like, even if you disagree with the reasoning and stuff, like, I know good players that have disagreed with bans before. Like, I think NJ&P didn't want Metagross banned or something like that. And I'm like, oh, we came as Romans back when he was relevant, like, didn't want stuff like Greninja banned. Like, fine, okay. But you can't say they're arbitrary. Like, there's clearly a system in place and some standards that a Pokemon needs to meet before they're banned. And then VGC, like, I think I have the examples in the comments where it's just like, they just have rule sets because they're just to be different from other seasons. Like, damn, I'm losing my train of thought. But basically, it just seems random. Like, 2011, we're only going to have Unova Pokemon, even though on the other side of Unova, there's older gen Pokemon as well. That's just going to be the rules because it seems fun. Like, that's what arbitrary is. And then the rules don't change for the entire year, so that's why I say they're static. Whereas Smogon rules, depending on what's needed to make the metagame better, can change at any time whatsoever. So yeah, this man was just like mentally handicapped and unable to speak English properly, to the point where I barely like made out what he was trying to say, and even then, it was completely wrong. Get this man out of here, bro. You also gotta love this guy, man. I almost forgot about this commenter. The initial thing, you know, is just typical Verlis fan salt. But, like, the thing that really cracked me up, like, not even this, like, the fact that he thinks he can prove something by by challenging someone to a battle. Like, come on, bro. You can't be any more of a cringe monkey. But he's actually being an elitist over playing the actual, like, 3DS cartridge instead of Pokemon Showdown, which literally everybody uses. Even Verlicify uses it. And he's over here being like some kind of elitist about that. Like, oh my god. Just look at this. Oh. Yo. Man, whose man's is this? As Blunder would say. Like, dude. I'm gonna end this right now because I'm gonna just start laughing and I'm just not gonna be able to stop. See you guys later. Oh, by the way, okay, no. Housekeeping things first. The video has essentially ended, but Pokemon Rejuvenation, I don't go back to my apartment until I start my seminars for I'm doing a teacher certification, and that's where my good computer is. So I'm not gonna start that for like, yeah, sorry, you guys are gonna have to wait like, today's the 5th, like 10 days for Rejuvenation. So that's just kind of eh. But I do have some more videos planned until then. So yeah, Yeah, I should have sent my save file over to my laptop. That would have been a lot easier. But even then, the quality just wouldn't have been the same. So yeah, peace out, guys.